nice like camping lantern.
So if you go to the website and go to the Board of Education, on our website, about, you can go to the Board of Education. You should see. I'm hoping I can. Let me see. Hmm? I like it.
That on?
I want to thank everyone for coming. I'm Dr. Kim Knowles. I'm the superintendent, and we will begin in a few minutes. And it's so nice to see so many people here. So welcome, welcome, welcome. I'll just kind of go over our agenda. There was an accident, so we're waiting on 2 other board members to join us. This evening, we have our auditor, Don Shaw, who will do a presentation for the board on the Sandridge School District 172 audit. We have Pastor France and Principal Ross that will do a presentation on the BEST program. Then we're going to talk about some of our contracts that are up for renewal that the board will take action on in in the regular board meeting. We have an update from our special education department chair. We're going to review the bills for approval, and then we have a few new hires. So I'm going to give her a second to get settled, and I thank all of you for coming. It's really nice to have a full room. Thank you.
It did not switch. It stayed. It's on that screen. Oh, there it is.
There's like a 25-second delay.
I see that.
Good evening, everyone. Pardon my tardiness. All right, it is now 6:06. It is February 20th, 2025. The Sandridge School District 172 Committee of the Whole meeting has now come to order. Roll call, please.
Member Colwell.
Here.
Member Newton. Here. Member Guthrie. Here. Member Lee. Here. Member Kruger. Here. Member Gray. President Jenkins Brown.
Here. All right. All right, first on our agenda is the Sandridge School District 172 audit. And that's Don Shaw. Don?
Don, you need your presentation.
No, I was just going to walk through
Okay.
the packets. All right. Thank you for having me. First, I'd like to thank Dr. Knowles and Alicia Evans for making this another successful audit year. Without their help, this is not possible, so thank you. I'm next going to go through the annual financial report with you, which is the thicker of the packets you received. And if you turn to page 1, you'll find our Waterbakken Amon letterhead. This is our independent audit report in which we provide a modified opinion due to the fact that the district reports on modified cash basis, which is not in conformance with GAAP. With the exception of this modification, it was an otherwise clean audit year in which we had no issues with internal controls or the numbers as they're presented. To see how the district performed in the current year, we can skip ahead to what would be your income statement, which is on page 14. Keep going, a couple more. couple more pages, sorry. So towards the bottom of page 14, you'll see that the general fund, which is your main operating fund, had a net decrease of $1.5 million. Although there was a decrease in the current year, the district actually performed better than what was expected, with your revenues coming in higher than anticipated while your expenditures were below budget in the current year. So your general fund had an ending fund balance of $5.7 million, which was about 89% of the total fund balance district-wide of $6.4 million. The notes of the financial statements will begin on page 17. And the notes really provide further detail into how we came up with the figures that we did with supporting schedules. Within there, you're going to find your long-term debt and your capital asset schedules. I'm not going to go through the notes with you tonight, so I'll have you skip ahead all the way to page 62. Page 62 is the start of your budgetary information. So if you want to see how a specific fund performed based on what was budgeted, this is where you want to go to see those comparisons. Does anyone have any questions on the financial statements? Okay, if not, we did also provide a second document called the management letter, in which we provided 2 current year recommendations, and these are really just a heads up that there's future GASB pronouncements that are coming down the pipeline that we'll be working with the team on implementing when those are due. And of the prior year recommendations, 2 have been implemented in the current year. So those are going to go away in next year's audit. And we have 1 more GASB pronouncement that's going to be implemented next year that, again, we'll work with the team on implementing. Does anyone have any questions?
What page is the management letter on?
That's a separate document. It's a stapled. Yeah.
Is this the management letter? No, that's
No. Yeah.
It's in there too, it's underneath that. No. Underneath the papers you just moved.
Yeah, it just looks like it's got some. It should be like a stapled couple pages.
I'll get a copy.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Any other questions? All right. If not, thank you for your time and enjoy the rest of your evening.
Thank you, John.
Thank you. Very good news. You can.
So I know that
You can use mine.
So I know Don is leaving, but I wanted to thank Ryan and the team for working with us. For full transparency for the community, we have 5 years worth of our audits on our website, and you can find those audits under the Department of Business. We had a one-time deficit spending of $1.5 million, and that was due to the capital improvement project, as well as doing making sure that we had textbooks and renovating our facilities for the students. But we now are back in full swing of things with a surplus, and we are on target, and we're actually seeing more money come in than we had anticipated for this fiscal year. So things are going well, and just want to let the community know that. Thank you. Thanks, Don.
All right, thank you very much. Next on our agenda is Best Program Presentation, Principal Ross and Pastor France.
Roosevelt, is there a microphone up there?
This one works too. It's a light.
Well, good evening, everyone. My name is Pastor Franz. I'm from a church in Linwood called Living Grace Church. And we want to present to this board and to the community something we've been doing at least for the last 10 years. It's a program called BEST. It's an acronym for Building, Empowering, Serving Together. And it's primarily driven and focused on the middle school children. And what I felt was far more important as I talked about this program with Dr. Ross and the entire team here than for you to hear from me, but to hear from someone who's actually seen the value of the program from two perspectives. One is Dr. Ross, who is the principal of school in School District 158, that's Memorial Junior High, right down the street from you, but also Chief Greg Thomas, who's in the house, who you know very well. He's also involved with the BEST program. So he's here to gain or provide support to the program. And without further ado, I would like Dr. Ross to share.
Yes, he's got it.
Good evening, everyone. As Pastor Franz stated, I'm Dr. Kelly Ross, Principal at Memorial Junior High School for Lansing School District 158, where Dr. Nathan Schilling is our Superintendent of Schools. I want to thank you all for giving me this opportunity to speak to you all about my experience working with Pastor Franz, as we've done quite a few projects together, but specifically the BEST Leadership Program. Before I speak about BEST, I would first like to talk about how things began, how our partnership began. So in 2020, we all know we were devastated and by the impact of COVID. Families were struggling a great deal, not just dealing with the pandemic itself and the health issues that it brought about, but also dealing with financial issues as well. So as the principal of Memorial, I wanted to figure out what could I do to help the families that I'm fortunate to serve in Lansing, whether it be, donations, providing them with food to kind of help their families. I was thinking about what could I do to help them. So I put together what I call my Mighty Mustang Achieve initiative, where we sought opportunities to provide to the families in our community. And as I was thinking of things that I can do, I got a flyer in the mail at work from Pastor Franz and Living Grace Church, and they were advertising their Blessed to be a Blessing campaign, in which they were providing community-wide effort to provide families with food donations. So of course I was ecstatic. I was just blown away that, this is what I need to do, and here's someone who's right here who I can partner with to help support the families in my community. So we began to work together. I actually had my students go to Living Grace Church around the Thanksgiving time when he's doing his Blessed to be a Blessing campaign, and we help pack food to be donated to families in Linwood and Lansing and a variety of other areas. And it's helped my students learn that this world is not just about us as individuals, but collectively as a community, and doing what you can to help those around you. So I was very happy to be able to connect with Pastor Franz to do that and help our students grow in that aspect. Because of our work together, our district actually awarded Pastor Franz our ABCDE Recognition Award, which stands for Recognizes Stakeholders Who Go Above and Beyond the Call of Duty Every Day. He's very dedicated, as I'm sure you all know, to making sure that he is providing a positive impact in the community. Him and his congregation have done great work, and I'm been very happy to partner with him in doing that. I know there may be some concern or questions about what about separation of church and state. There's never a time where our students or our families are being asked about their religion, their belief. Our families know when we go to the church that we're going there to do community service work, or they know when their students or their children are going to the church, it's for the leadership program. At no time does Pastor Franz or his congregation try to talk to students or families about joining the church or their faith or anything of that nature. It's just about giving back and supporting the community. So that's made very clear. Thank you. So from our work together, over 100 families in the Lansing community have received food donations as of today. So we've been able to make a great impact in helping those who are in need, and we're going to continue our work as long as he will have our partnership to continue to move forward to help families. So then that led us to expanding our partnership and being a part of the BEST Leadership Program, which stands for Building, Empowering, Serving Together. And it's a summer leadership academy where I have, it started off with just my 7th graders who are moving on to the 8th grade the following year, having them be a part of the program. But as we saw the impact, the powerful impact it was having on those students as far as just them growing as leaders, being able to articulate their ideas and their thoughts, being more connected to their community and the world around them, I realized by having just 7th graders who were moving into 8th grade, we were only going to have them for a year. But we thought, well, what if we expanded this to have 6th graders be a part of the program? That way we have 2 years to really build them and develop them as leaders. So the purpose of the program is to provide engaging and relevant curriculum that prepares learners and leaders of tomorrow. Students broaden their life skills and knowledge as mentors among their peers. They are exposed to a world of technology with university scholars. So it is a, I believe, 5-week program, correct? 5-week program. Depending on the time of the year, but during the summertime, they interact in various activities where they're working together. They're brainstorming how to do different projects. They do go to DePaul College, I believe that's where they went last time, to be exposed to technology and STEM. And all that has had a great impact on my students as far as them having confidence in themselves, just starting to think about careers that they may want to explore. I've definitely seen the growth in them from this program. So when I'm selecting my students for this program, I work with my 6th grade and my 7th grade assistant principals, and we work together to identify approximately anywhere from 3 to 5 students at each grade level that we would like to consider for the program. Students have to at least have a B average. They can't have a C on their report card, but their overall average should at least be a B average. We don't expect high honor students because we believe all students have talent, and we want to tap into that opportunity for all of our students. So they are given this application. They fill it out. They also have to get a letter of recommendation. So this is teaching them about when you're applying for things, you have to fill out an application, you have to be committed, you have to go and ask individuals who know you for references based on your character. So this is helping them learn that process as well. There is an application fee of $500 per student. However, we have worked with our local businesses to try to get support to get scholarships for our students, and we've been able to do that where our students have not had to pay, our families have not had to pay that amount. So we are very grateful for our local businesses who have stepped up and really helped our students be a part of this program. So from the program, I stated some things that I've seen from my students as far as their growth. But I've seen, that, again, they're exposed to technology from university scholars, so they're starting to think about STEM and what career paths they can explore based on the technology and STEM concepts that they're learning. Students develop their knowledge through projects that develop their academic skills through planning, because they have to work together. They have to explain different projects and how they're coming about those things as far as what their thought process was. So that's helping them academically as well. Students receive valuable mentorship and feedback from community leaders. As Pastor Fran stated, our chief has been a part of the program to speak to some of the students. They've had other local leaders come and speak to our students about career goals, how they're doing in school. That's kind of helped motivate them and keep them focused. Also, our students have developed as leaders. They are enhancing their problem-solving skills, communication skills, and collaboration efforts. Some of our students actually who are part of this program have been a part of our district's strategic planning process. So last year we underwent strategic planning as a district, and we wanted input from student leaders. And some of our students who are involved in this program actually were selected to be a part, to just give us feedback from a student perspective. Students broaden their life skills And they're more connected academically. I've noticed those things from the students who have been a part of this program. This opportunity has resulted in 30 student leaders identified as our Mighty Mustang Achieve leaders who serve as respected advisors and mentors throughout the school. Again, I think this is a great program. It's been a great partnership with Pastor Franz. They've learned about community service, just being leaders and feeling good about themselves. They've learned that their voice counts, and I'm just very proud of the work that we've been able to do to help support our students grow as individuals and as leaders. Are there questions or?
Okay.
Sure.
How long have you and your students been involved in this program?
I believe this is our 3rd year in the program for the best leadership, but we've done other things. I think 5 or 6 years we've been working with Pastor Franz.
How many students have actually gone through the program or who've been benefited by it?
30 students who have been student leaders who have completed the program and gone on as student leaders.
What grade levels are those?
Well, they start off as 6th and 7th graders, but by the time they finish, they are now 7th and 8th graders. Yes.
What high school do your children go to when they graduate from Memorial?
They go to TSA.
Okay.
Any other?
If I could just add one thing, to show you how robust this program is now taking on steam. We have 9 superintendents that are scheduled for a superintendent roundtable on next Tuesday at JMA. JMA is your architect, and JMA is also a partner in this program. And so, Mr. Robinson, who is the superintendent of TF South, is going to be there, who is also a person that we partnered with, actually before he became superintendent. That school district is part of this program. So I just thought you all might want to be aware of that.
Okay, thank you for your time.
Just had a question, but that's okay.
Sure, no, please.
It's just out of curiosity, you know, a lot of times when kids are in high school and they perform community service, there's rewards or points that are given to them for their community service. Likewise, is that the same for this level?
Yes, I actually had a student today I was talking to who's a member of this group, and we're doing a community service activity next week, and he does use those hours for his community service, because we have that through our school, because we're trying to promote just being more conscious of your community and volunteering. So yes, those students can use this as volunteer hours. Yes.
How are the students selected for this program?
Our assistant principals, 6th and 7th grade assistant principals, work with our teachers to identify anywhere from 3 to 5 students who they want to recommend, but then those students actually have to fill out the application process and get letters of recommendation in order to actually be admitted into the program.
Is it based on their academic performance?
Academic behavior, their work ethic around the school, are they in other activities, are they volunteering their time, things of that nature.
So the next question is, over 3 years that you work with these students, what type of academic achievement have you seen or has it been for the students that they gained in reading and math and so forth? Or what are you seeing as a measure?
I've seen that they've grown as leaders as far as being able to articulate their thoughts and ideas. Academically, they're more sound. I see a lot of their grades have improved because their confidence has improved. A lot of them are now taking our STEM class that we offer because of their being exposed more to technology. A lot of them are venturing out and now going to do other activities that maybe they didn't think they could do, but now this has kind of built their confidence, so they're reaching out to do other things as well.
Is there a maximum number of students that can be? I know you said 30, but is there is that the most that you can have in your program? If your program were to extend to 60 students, could you accommodate that?
As long as we can try to provide them with financial support, because we do want to help the families as far as the cost of the program. So we don't wanna take on more than we're able to help support.
If I were to ask you, an hour to interview a student or some of the students, what type of responses do you go out and get? Just
If you spoke to them about the
from the
program?
students, yeah.
Well, what they tell me and what they will probably tell you is they greatly enjoy the collaboration that they have with their peers. They like being exposed to college life, going to the college campus and being exposed to technology. They like that they are seen in a different light because they're leaders now, and that carries something. You know, when you are a Mighty Mustang Achieve leader, and I tell them, when I talk to your teachers, I need to hear positive things about you because you are representing the school, you're representing your community, and you're representing me. So there's a responsibility and a air, I think, of confidence that they carry that they would share with you as far as their belief in themselves as leaders.
Dr. Ross,
Okay.
before you leave,
Sure.
I think there's another piece that is so important, and that's this element of social emotional learning.
Yes.
Last year, we did for the first time a pre and a post evaluation of the kids emotionally before they came into the course, and then their assessment after it. And that detail is available for your assessment. Dr. Ross, could you talk a little bit about that? Could you take a look at some of that detail?
The social, just students having you probably can speak a little bit better because I know you've worked with them more one-on-one. But we know that social emotional learning is very important to our students. We want to make sure that they're being heard, that they're speaking from what they feel within, that they do not feel like they're being silenced, and giving them tools where they can kind of have those conversations and talk about how they feel as young people, because they do have a lot on their shoulders. They really do. And I believe this program has provided that kind of opportunity for them to have those conversations and be able to have them in a way where they can articulate their thoughts and ideas about how they feel. And I do want to add, and I did not put it in the slide, I wasn't sure if you want to talk about it or not, we actually recently were recognized by the Illinois Principals Association. We received the Building Bridges Award. Not just as we were the South Cook winners, but then we also found out that we are now the statewide winners for our work together. So in October, we will actually go to the conference for the Illinois Principals Association to talk about our work with this program. So I just wanted to share that with you that we're doing good work, and I know this is something you all have to consider if it's right for you. But we're going to keep pushing forward with our work, and we're grateful that it's being recognized.
Thank you.
Thank you.
How much time? Just a couple more minutes?
I think we had one more question too. She was a little shy about asking, but.
Okay, again, I would like for you to maybe mention the disconnection from the church and the state, and how did you actually, parents have a concern, and we talked a little bit about that, because people come from different religious backgrounds, and we only have 30 students, it's not a large number, but how exactly, how you get parents to say, well, this is how this is church, this is school, there's no disconnect, it's not encouraging, so how do we get past that bridge?
Well, not to sound coy or trite, we don't. Meaning that we don't make it an issue. And I think I share with you, Ms. Guthrie, as well as several other people, we had a Muslim student once come into our program. And we always have parent meetings before we implement the program. We want all the parents to come in to vet all the teachers, just so you'll know, all of these teachers are hired. We pay them top dollar. These are not just people doing benevolent work, they're being paid by the program. And so, this is a very case in point, the Muslim mother and father came and met with me afterwards, and they said, "Sir, we love the program, we got a problem. We're Muslim, and you're Christian." And I said, and they thought I was being a smart aleck. I really wasn't, because I asked them to look at any of the material and think about all the things that they've been through thus far. And have you experienced anything that smells of religion? And they said no. The only thing that they could point to was the sponsor, the church. It's a building, which goes back to the previous statement. Someone said, what about, I'll use my language, if it scales beyond 60 to 70 to 150 students, we got to change the venue. It's just that simple. We add more teachers. By the way, we have a waiting list now for teachers. I remember we were looking for teachers. Now they are looking for us. So the program is catching on.
And I was just gonna reiterate, we provide parents from the very start with all the information that will be covered through the program. We take their questions, and they get to see where their students are going, their children are gonna be. So we make that very clear from the beginning, where it's gonna be held and what materials will be covered through the program.
Just finally, would you mind standing, Chief, just for a moment? Chief's daughter was in our program. I don't know if she's here. I don't think she's here. And there's an extension to this program that I think your youngsters would be interested in. It's something that Chief and his entire team is part of, and it's called the Authority Conference. And so the extension of this is bringing in black and brown kids all across the southern suburbs to work with police officers and help them to develop interpersonal skills. Because, as I told my son, you will be pulled over. It's called driving while black. It's just inevitable. It's gonna happen. So you need to get on the front end of it and develop personal relationships with officers. So his officers are literally involved in our BEST program. And so they come for half an hour to 45 minutes through this 5-week curriculum, at least 5 to 7 of his officers. And their job is to relate. In other words, how did you deal with bullying when you were a youngster? How did you deal with social media? Of course, it's on a different level now, but you still had to deal with social media. How did you deal with premarital sex? And so all of these tough questions that oftentimes we don't give the kids the opportunity to ask, we deal with. And we try to get a rainbow coalition. So we have his commanders that are, of course, he's not there now, but was Hispanic and white and black and female. So we want them to understand the hues of the life that they're gonna live. And one final thing, the middle school kids in the choice was intentional. We started off, the program has been going on since 2014, so we got a decade into this, so we have some experience with this. And we started off with high school kids, but we found out that some things were ingrained in them that was a little bit hard to work with. You gotta pull it out of them. The middle school kids are a little more pliable and mobile, so you can shape them early on. Any other questions? I don't wanna take too much time.
Pastor Frank, did you want to talk about this?
Oh, yes.
I'm sorry.
This is kind of to my heart, because if you remember, Dr. Ross said the program started with our Blessed to Be a Blessing campaign. That simply means that we are training our people, and especially our young people, to understand you must give in order to receive. And so this program that you're looking at with this provision over here is provision that's available for your families. It's based on a partnership that we just forged in the last 3 months with an entity called World Vision. I don't know if you've ever heard of them, but they are just what their name implies. They have a vision for the world. And what Greater Chicago Food Depository is to food insecurity, World Vision is to home goods. And so if you look over there, you see Huggies, you see Depends, you see ceiling fans, you see all kinds of resources, radios, all this stuff. We have been on a wait list for 3 years. The wait list is a wait list on the wait list. People that try to get connected with this entity have to be on the wait list for 3, 4, 5 years. We are on it, and we got on the provision list in 1 year. And so that resource you see right there is available for your families. Well, what do you have to pay for? Nothing. So why are we doing that? Because we want to help. And so Dr. Ross and her superintendent, which is one of the reasons why he's our key speaker at the superintendent's roundtable next week, is going to be sharing that provision for his school district. By the way, that's only for a limited amount of school districts. And I selected Dr. Knowles as one of those districts because we only have so many resources. And this is monthly provision. Monthly. And so can you imagine resources that are coming to your families that are in need? This is outside of food. Isn't that a blessing? Sure it is. Sure it is. And so there's a criteria that we have to put in place, and Dr. Ross and her leadership are putting that criteria together, and obviously Dr. Knowles will do it here. Any other questions? Thank you so much for your time. I'm looking forward to being a blessing to you. By the way, our fees for the per student cost went up because DePaul University charges us. See, we take your kids, this is all part of the cost. All transportation is included. We take them downtown on the north side of DePaul University for a week. And in that week, the kids learn robotics, STEM technology, programming, and they literally work with robots during that period of time for a solid week. And the people that are training them are former high school and middle school kids that went through some of the same programs. And they experienced the hues of all the different nationalities. Asians, Africans. See, this is real world stuff. Whites, blacks. And that's what makes them so excited when they come back, because can you imagine a kid in middle school learning college before they even get to high school? We're expanding the borders. I'll leave you with this. It's hard to be what you can't see. And so when they see all of this, they aspire to be it. Any other questions? Chief, any final comments since your daughter went through it?
I could attest to definitely the joy and the exposure my daughter had. Seeing her being able to come back and talk about DePaul and the STEM program, and to see her now, she'll be graduating this year from Chicago Heights Middle School, from high school, but she's already focused on what she want to achieve in high school and moving forward. And again, I thank Pastor France, and this program certainly has been beneficial to my family. And just to piggyback what he said, I never forget an interview with Obama once, and he spoke about being the president, and he spoke about president leaders from around the country, and how some of them are ignorant. They can't, they're just in these positions, and various people in the Senate, and various people in the House of Congress are really not as intelligent as they look. And he says what got them there was exposure. Exposure. I think all of us can testify to what exposure has done. Exposure to things in life has given me my path, and this exposure is second to none.
I promise, final question. Software development, is it included? If it's not, think about it. Think about including it, but thank you.
Because I'm a computer guy.
Me too.
For 35 years of my career were in computers. And programming is part of the program. And so they go through the fundamentals of how to write a program. So software development, yes, but on a very rudimentary level.
Okay.
Yes. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
I wanted to thank Pastor France for the partnership, but I also wanted to thank Chief Thomas, because every single day the police department is out here making sure that my students get to school safely And then sometimes they'll just walk through the building. In the beginning, I'm like, hey, is something going on? And they're like, no, we just want to say hi, and we want the kids to get to see us. And so we're very grateful for your leadership and for the partnership that we have. So thank you.
All right, next on our agenda, Building and Grounds Finance Contract Presentation, Mr. Hayes and Ms. White.
Is Clyde here?
Is Clyde?
I'll take that.
Okay.
I'll take that one. So as part of the superintendent's report, we are watching our budget, and although a small school, we need to bring additional resources to our children. With United Maintenance Contract, we wanted to extend that contract for 3 years, and we just learned from our legal department, whenever we do contracts, we work with our lawyers. And so we're not going to bring United to the board this month for a motion to approve, because any contracts that are over $25,000 in alignment with our policy, we may be required to go back out to bid unless the contract has a stipulation in there that allows you to extend. So I pulled that as an action item, and when they send me the contract that was entered into in 2021, we are going to partner with John Fester, our lawyer, to determine if we have to go out to bid. But they did agree to a 3-year freeze, and we're very satisfied with their services, but we are held accountable for going out to bid. So I did pull that one for this evening. Can you go to the next one? Can I just see this before I wait? This evening, the board will take action on C&T lawn care contract. With this particular contract, they remove they mow our lawn, they remove the snow, and then they salt the grounds. They went up just a few dollars, but we are entering into a 3-year agreement with them. Can you scroll down to the price and blow that up, because I don't have my glasses on? Okay, right there. Now I need you to blow. There you go. Now I can see. Thank you. So we've had a wonderful winter, but every time they have to plow the lot, they charge $304. Snow or to shovel and to blow the walk, $70. To de-ice the lot, $340, and then to de-ice the walkways, $70. And so those, we're only charged when they actually do work. So it's been a wonderful winter, and we haven't had to do too much work, but that saves us a lot of money as far as legal issues, because if you don't remove your snow, or if someone has a slip and fall in your lots, you are held accountable for that. And then the last one that I'm going to talk about, this will not come to the board this evening, but with our open kitchen contract, that is the vendor for food service. In the beginning, students had some issues with the food, so last board meeting, or the board meeting before, I think it was the last board meeting, they did a tasting of the food, and they explained to parents that kids are looking for that salty, crunchy taste, but we are held accountable through the National Nutrition Guidelines, and you can only use up to 120 or 125 milligrams of salt per day, and that's divided amongst 2 meals, breakfast and lunch. They did switch up the menu a bit to make it more student friendly, and as of lately, we haven't had any complaints or concerns. So in this particular contract, we are allowed to extend the contract, but we have to fill out some paperwork and get that sent over to the State Board of Education, and then we will bring that contract back in the month of March. That concludes my presentation on the various contracts. The only one you're taking action on this evening would be C&T Lawn Care. Thank you.
I'm sorry, Dr. Knowles. For C&T, what is the exact amount? Because I see an amount for 8 months and 6 months. What's the exact amount that we're taking action on?
Okay.
Yeah. Looks like
So for landscape services, that will cover us from April until the month of November. And the cost for these services is $4,520 for the season. And then we pay that in 8 equal installments of $565 per month. For turf, fertilization, and weed control, the cost for those services is $2,880 for the season, payable in 8 months of $360 per month. And then they also provide snow services. So to plow the lot is $294 per time, $67 snow shovel, or to blow the walkway, de-ice $320, and then to de-ice the walkways $67. That was for, I'm sorry, those prices were for the 24-25 school year, because I wanted to give you all a comparison. And so for a 3-year contract for 25 to 28, the dollar amount would increase from, just give me 1 second. So we're currently paying $4,520. So over the next 3 years, we would pay $4,968 for each season, payable in 8 months, and then we're going to increase to $621 per month over 8 months. And then for the cost for the snow removal, it went up to $304 to plow the lot. It was $294, so that's a $20 increase. And to blow the walkways, $70. De-ice the lot, $340, and to de-ice the walkways, $70. So they only increased their prices by a few pennies. And pretty much that's it.
Okay. Thank you. Any questions from the board? Question? Okay, good. All right. Next on the agenda, Special Education Department update, Mr. David Hook.
Hello, good evening.
Good evening.
All right, short update. As I told you, I'll be giving update every month on our current numbers. Go ahead. So currently in-house, we have 77 students. We have 14 students out of district, and we still have 5 initial evaluations going on. Our numbers are fluid, where students are leaving the district or enrolling in the district. We just got another student 2 weeks ago. And sometimes parents enroll their child, don't tell us they have an IEP right away, so they might be here for a while until they see that they're struggling, and they're like, oh, my student has an IEP. So then we gotta find the, if the parent don't have it, we gotta contact the previous school district. Sometimes they're out of state, so it's a fluid process. As I told you, as the year goes on, as I have IEP meetings, we're trying to get students from the outplacement back to here. So for an example, we did have one student that was doing well at the placement where he was at. We brought him back here. He was a first grader as a slow transition half day. Well, he was fine for about a week or so, and then he just had a lot of those behaviors came out, and we ended up having to send him back. And sometimes, you don't know. Though that shows us that those therapeutic schools really do work for students. And sometimes a general ed setting is just not the right setting for certain students. But we always have to try. Our main goal is to have them educated in the least restrictive environment, but sometimes just, we can't do that, okay? And then my last thing I'm gonna talk about, as I told you, we were doing our social worker. Ms. Jordan went to a train the trainer training to be a certified trainer for CPI certification. So this past Institute Day in February, we had every single staff member be trained in verbal de-escalation. And we just finished up yesterday at our faculty meeting. So they had, all of them have a blue card now. It was a really, they each had a workbook to go back to. And hopefully this will start changing mindsets and behaviors. It will have to start with that staff member and then trickle down to the students. So it was a really, really good training. And then next week at our early dismissal, we will be training a few of our staff to become our nonviolent crisis intervention team. And so what that is, these are staff members who will be trained in how to escort students or, you know, physically manage a student if ever needed. That's always a last resort, and we hope they don't do that. But this year alone, you know, we've had some fairly aggressive students. So we want to have a team in place that if there's ever an issue with the student, the team will be able to go to and help support that student in need. So I just have some good pictures. The staff really liked the training. They were participating, you know, and everything. So we're on track. Any questions? Yes.
I have a question about that. How many teachers do we have for those children that need the help? And are all these children in separate classes? Do you have any
So,
children
I mean,
per class?
can you be more specific? Do you mean like special ed students or?
Yes.
So we, as I said, we currently have 77 special ed students on campus, and that means most of them are probably within the regular ed classrooms. We do have 3 self-contained classrooms. We got a kindergarten through 2nd grade room, a 3 through 5 grade room, and a 6th grade. And our 3 through 5 and 6th grade only got about 2 or 3 that stay with that teacher all day. And then the other students in the regular class go to those teachers for their academic minutes. And then the K through 2 room, we have, I think, about 9 students. And those K through 2 students are the ones that have a lot of need because most of them are autistic.
Exactly. I have an autistic granddaughter who the young man you were talking about hit her. Not only that, she was jumped on the school bus. Now remind you, she's autistic. She's declared non-verbal. She can't speak some, but there's no one really protecting her. And this is
I can have my not to cut you off, but this is not the time for that. I can have my principal get your name and we can work with you if we have to offer door-to-door transportation. So if you can, after this, Dave, if you can go in the hall and talk to that family or take them to my conference room. If a student is autistic and they are needing door-to-door transportation or a bus aid, Mr. Hook can get the specifics regarding your baby and we can work with you so that something like that never happens to any child. But it's only during public comment, and this is not public comment at that time, so we don't engage with the audience. He was talking to the board. My apologies.
Okay, let us know. You don't want anybody else to say anything. Okay? But is it possible I can speak with you, sir?
After the meeting, yes.
Absolutely.
Any other questions, board, about my presentation?
Yes, I do have a question. So, just to kind of piggy off what she was saying, so how many teachers are you anticipating being on this crisis intervention team?
It'll be mostly our paraprofessionals, myself, our related service personnel. Because we really don't want to take so when we have a crisis, we don't want, teachers are teaching and they can't leave their classroom. So it'll mostly be paraprofessionals, admin, and our related service personnel.
I'm listening to you say that we're getting students in that sometimes we don't know that they have an active IEP. So thereby those kids are placed in the regular classroom. Is it the teacher's responsibility then to observe that behavior and assume that the child has an IEP?
never assume anything, but when we have had those instances, teachers have reached out to me to say there might be, you know, an issue either academically or behaviorally or whatever, they see things or whatever. So then that's when we might ask the parents, you know, does your child have an IEP? Again, we cannot do nothing unless we have that. Like, I wouldn't know that that child has an IEP unless that parent provides it to us, or if they don't have access, if they let us know where their last school was, then we reach out to that school and request it. Because I can't place them, we wouldn't know what type of services they need, or you know, placement or anything unless I have a copy of that.
The school records that they bring over, there should be some identified.
Sometimes it should be, but we don't get everything when that's requested.
We do ask parents, when you're registering your student, there's a box that you have to check to say whether or not a student has an IEP. Sometimes people check the box, sometimes they don't, but then teachers are very quick to tell us a student is experiencing some academic difficulties, and then we'll call the parent, and then that's when they'll say, oh, my child has an IEP, where did they go to school? We always request the records, but then parents will sometimes say that they have it. Depending on what a student's disability is, some parents want to give their child a fresh start without mentioning the fact that they have it, but that really sets kids up for not for success, because you have the IEP with specific goals and benchmarks and additional support so that you can be successful.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. All right, next on the agenda, Finance Department bills for approval. Mrs. Charlotte White.
Good evening.
Good evening.
The bills that were paid for February 2025, come to the total of $237,546.15. Do you all need to see the breakdown of the various things that were paid?
Go to the bills that are in alpha order, because that makes it easier. So is that the detailed?
That one.
This one?
Yep.
If you can pull those up. And then can you make that bigger, Roosevelt?
So yeah, this just shows the breakdown of bills, how we paid Amazon, and it was for various supplies for special education, general supplies, for various departments in the school. We did AT&T, that's our internet service. Buckeye is a service that the maintenance department use. C&T Lawn and Landscape, that's one that does our grass and the de-icing. CDS Leasing is the leasing of our copiers. Charlotte White, that was for reimbursement for Institute Day, for me getting stuff for that. Mr. Caldwell, that was his reimbursements for the Triple I conference. ComEd, our electric bill. Country Club Hills, that is for special education services. Expert Chemical and Supplies, where the maintenance department buys their supplies. First Students is our transportation services for our students. KBT Enterprises, that's another transportation service for special education. Village of Linwood is for our water and sewers. Omni Therapeutics is part of special education. Open Kitchens is our food service. Roof Care is, what it says, for the care of our roof. Ms. Jenkins Brown, that's her reimbursement for the Triple I conference. Staples Advantage is for various supplies for the school. Supreme Security, that's for our security person. T-Mobile is for the internet and phone service. And United Maintenance is for our cleaning service. Any questions?
Okay,
I
no questions.
also have the book if you all need to see that with the various invoices in it.
I got it.
Mr. Hook, you can take the parents to the conference room so you can take care of them.
All right, thank you so much, Ms. White. Personnel report, Dr. Kim Knowles.
Good evening, board. Tonight you will take action on 4 employees. We have Mike Ward, who will serve as a substitute teacher at a starting salary of $175 per day. We have hired a certified teacher for first grade, Miss Tina N. Williams, starting on a master's MA, step 16, at a prorated salary of $70,588.53. Tina is my first teacher that I've hired during my tenure that is a national board certified teacher. In addition to elementary education, she also is a reading specialist, so we really feel that she will do a wonderful job with our students. We've hired Max Snelling as a permanent sub/para at a prorated salary of $35,000. Mac lives in Linwood. He is a graduate of Sandridge School District 172, and he does a phenomenal job in working with our autistic students. And then we want to continue our relationship with Dr. Alicia Evans. Dr. Evans charges $125 per hour. We utilize her as needed for things that require the chief school business official. And we are in agreement that that contract would never exceed $40,000. So Dr. Evans does the higher order things such as our tax levy, our bonds, assisting us with the audit, shopping for cost-effective insurance for the district and things of that nature. In full transparency, one question that I'm frequently asked is, well, why can't you do those things? You have to have a special certification, and that is completely different than a superintendent's certification. With Sandridge being a mid-sized district, we don't have the need for a full-time chief school business official, so it's more cost-effective for the district to enter into an as-needed service. She also does our expenditure reports for the grants. And that concludes the employees that would be recommended for hire on the personnel report.
All right, any questions, board members? No? All right, may I have a motion to adjourn from the committee of the whole?
Oh, I have one.
Oh, okay.
I'm sorry. I have one.
Sorry. Yeah, sure.
No, I can't talk to that after
What's
closed
up?
session. I'm sorry.
You go, okay.
That's closed.
All right, I'm sorry, motion to adjourn from the committee of the whole? Roll call, please.
Ms. Kruger. Member Lee. Yes. Member Newton. Yes. Member Guthrie. Member Colwell.
Yes.
Member Gray. President Jenkins Brown.
Yes. All right. Meeting adjourned. Let's go ahead and take a 10-minute break, so by 7:15, we will resume.